So I've got a bit of a confession to make. AI has started to make me lazy and incompetent. It's improving fast, especially in software development, but speed can hide bad habits. So I wrote this article to help me and you maybe explore how to use AI without becoming lazy and careless like me. Cam here, welcome to this week's episode of Endurance Coaching Business. I've been using AI a lot lately for content, software development, all sorts of tasks that it used to take me a lot longer. It's improved drastically over the last months that I've noticed, especially for software development. It actually feels borderline magical. It can move fast, fill in gaps, suggest patterns, write boilerplate, all sorts of stuff that I can do now a lot quicker than I could on my own. But there's a downside if I'm not extremely vigilant, which I haven't been. So AI has started to make me lazy and incompetent. It sounds a bit melodramatic, but it's important to notice what's happening. So not because AI is bad, not because it's doing anything that it shouldn't be expected, but because I've started to change the way I work, but I haven't changed the way I think about it. So I'm mostly talking about this through the lens of being a software business owner, software developer, because that's where I'm spending most of my time with AI right now. But I think the same principles apply well beyond software. E.g. coaches using AI for programming, content, communication, business tasks, whatever. So the problem isn't the AI itself. AI does a great job. It just doesn't do a perfect one. So when it writes code, it doesn't always have the context it needs. Same thing applies when a coach uses AI to draft a training plan or write athlete messages or create content. AI can produce something solid, but it may miss the context that matters most, like the athlete's history, the coach's philosophy, nuance about the relationship, or a reason a certain decision was made previously. It can't possibly have all of that context because some of it only exists in our heads or in systems that AI just doesn't have access to. So little edge cases, assumptions, the business rules that I forgot to explain to the AI, the reason one piece of ugly looking code exists because 6 months ago it solved a really urgent problem in a specific way. So AI fills in the gaps, and sometimes it fills them in well and sometimes it just guesses wrong. So that's normal. Important thing to remember is that people do that too. So the issue has become when I write code myself, I move more slowly. And that slower pace actually helps understanding. So as I write code, I naturally build up a mental checklist, and a coach will do the same thing when they're building a program manually or writing feedback to an athlete. Going step by step creates space to notice risks, inconsistency, and things that you know will need double checking. So I notice the risky parts. I can feel where things might break. I start building a library of tests in my head that I need to run through when I'm done. And that thinking is built into the act of writing slowly. So when AI writes code, it happens exponentially faster. So I can still see the code. No, I don't just let AI write the code and then be done with it. I compare it against the previous version. I review the difference. I understand what changes. But sometimes I've been missing things. And if those things don't get tested, then bugs can get through. And that's happened to me a few times recently. Nothing major, and just things that have been picked up very quickly either by me or by some of our more vigilant coaches. But it's created partly by overconfidence, partly laziness, and partly this slow build-up I've felt of incompetence. So none of that is uncomfortable to admit, but it's currently true. So it's because speed can hide bad habits. So the danger with AI isn't just that it can make mistakes, because it will make mistakes. The danger is that it lets me skip parts of my own process without realizing what I've lost. So it compresses work so quickly that it becomes easier to approve things I haven't properly interrogated. So in coaching, that might look like approving a week of programming, a nutrition guide, or a piece of content that looks good at a glance. You might be in a hurry without fully checking whether it actually fits the customer or the business or your brand. And it creates this illusion that because you sort of understand roughly what happened, that you've done enough. And for me, often I haven't. And that's where the laziness creeps in. It's not the obvious kind of like I can't be bothered laziness, but more the subtle kind where you trust that something is probably fine because the output looks good and arrive quickly. And over time, if you keep doing that, then incompetence follows. So because competence isn't just knowing what good code or coaching looks like after the fact, it's developing the habits that catch problems before they get shipped. It's building judgment, it's noticing what's missing, it's understanding why something works, not just that it appears to work. And if I outsource too much of that thinking, then I shouldn't be surprised when those muscles get weaker. So good news is this is not terminal. It's not an irreversible decline into incompetence. I think it's just the normal process of adapting to a new, extremely different technology. So every productivity shift changes the workflow around it. So the people who benefit the most are usually not simply the ones who use the new tool the most. They're the ones who redesign their process to account for that tool's strengths and weaknesses. So that's the part that I'm learning now and trying to figure out. So AI clearly makes me more productive. I'm not interested in pretending otherwise. The upside is just too large. It's here to stay. But if I want the upside without the hidden costs that I've been talking about, then I need to change how I work. So I need better review habits, better testing habits, better prompts, better constraints, better checkpoints. In other words, I need a new workflow that assumes AI will help me a lot, but also make honest mistakes, because it will. So AI is starting to feel like more of an employee than just a tool, like a team member. It's got more agency now. It can go off and work on its own. It can make progress independently in agent mode. It can hit roadblocks, make judgment calls, choose a direction, make a decision, and then just keep moving without my feedback. So that's true whether it's writing software, drafting blog posts, building workflows, or helping a coach create onboarding emails or training resources or community content, whatever you're using AI to create. So that's useful, but it also means that we need to start managing it the same way we'd manage a real employee. Not with paranoia, not with micromanagement, but just with a healthy level of oversight. So in good software teams, this is an example, in good software teams, nobody is above review. So everyone gets their work checked by someone else. That's not an insult to their ability. It's not lack of trust. It's just an acknowledgement of reality, that everyone makes mistakes, no matter how smart or experienced they are. So reviews exist because humans are fallible, and the same principle applies here, probably even more so. So if AI is doing meaningful work for you, then it needs a meaningful review. Not because it's uniquely unreliable, but because all contributors are in some way unreliable and infallible. So review shouldn't be thought of as the enemy of speed. So that's the trap that I've fallen into, that because I'm reviewing it thoroughly enough, and I'm clearly not. So as something that slows down the benefits of AI, but that's the wrong way to think about it. Review is what makes this new speed sustainable. So without review, AI can absolutely help me move faster in the short term. It can also help me create bugs faster, stack up technical debt faster, make mistakes faster, and help me become less mentally sharp over time. But with review, it can become much more powerful. And there's another benefit as well, learning. So some of the best things I've learned in software development came from feedback on my code from other developers. So someone porting out a cleaner pattern, a better structure, a hidden edge case, a simpler way to express the same idea. And I've learned just as much from reviewing other people's code. So spotting something clever they've done, seeing a pattern that I've never considered, understanding a trade-off that I hadn't appreciated before. So that's one more reason to treat AI like a team member, like part of the team. Not just as something that produces output, but as something whose output needs to be reviewed, discussed, improved, and even learned from. So what's the mind shift that I need So it's not that I should use less AI. No way, that's backwards. I think the answer is to use it more responsibly. I don't think that's obvious. So for me, what are the practical things that this means? So it means not confusing generated output with completed work. It means remembering that fast code generation does not remove the need for slow thinking. It means being explicit about context because AI cannot read my mind. It means checking assumptions, not just text and syntax. It means building review and testing into the workflow instead of treating them as semi-optional if the code looks about right and it works. So most of all, it means accepting that this is my responsibility. The AI didn't make me lazy and responsible and incompetent. I did. So it exposes where I was willing to be careless because the tool was so useful and new. So that's the hard thing to admit. It's my fault, but that's useful, and I'm glad I discovered it without any major issue. So where have I landed? AI didn't make me lazy and incompetent, but I started to become that way, but only because I've been using it with an outdated workflow. I'm still applying old habits to a new type of collaborator, and that's what AI increasingly is. A collaborator, a team member, an agent, a very fast one, a very capable one, and a very useful one. There's no denying that anymore, but still one that makes mistakes. So the path forward isn't being scared of it, and it isn't blind trust either. It's a better process. So treat AI like a member of the team, give it direction, let it do work, expect it to make honest mistakes. So review what it produces thoroughly, and then iterate based on feedback. Give the AI feedback, change things yourself. Now, whether that's code, coach educational content, athlete communication, or business systems, the principles stays the same. And that's not micromanagement, that's just good management. So if we get all that stuff right, AI won't make us lazy and incompetent, it'll just make us better.